Sure. Actually, I believe Todd's going to get us going on the first couple slides here this morning. So, Todd, can you get us started, please?
Sure. Good morning. My name's Todd Hutchinson, and as the introduction goes that Jen just gave, I'm Director of Solution Delivery here at WEtap Media. And Rob is with us here. He's the VP of Technology at Rivermark. We started working together many years ago, but there was a particular project that Rivermark had that Rob brought to WEtap to help him with a consistent problem that he was running into, which was vendors had these great technical solutions, but the way that they looked and the way that they integrated with their brand and their website tools that they already had was, you know, a real challenge. Things didn't look right. It was not easy to make changes. Integration was non-existent, and it was just a nightmare for image that was to a acceptable standard for the credit union. So Rob came to us with a challenge, and he had seen us use a tool in the past on some other projects that we've done for other customers, and asked us if we could do something that then ended up becoming TopLayer. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about, is a TopLayer product that can help credit unions, and actually any industry, take something that might not look right and may not integrate well, and solve both of those challenges. So the goal of TopLayer, as I just kind of expressed, was or is to make those member experiences, you know, seamless. Make them look like they are within the website, they stay within the website, and it's consistent branding, consistent navigation. And the other thing that TopLayer makes possible, since you can change the look and feel, is you can also make that same experience accessible across all the different platforms. And that's something that Rivermark stresses, is if you can do something in the branch, you should be able to do it on the desktop. Do it on the desktop, you should be able to do it across all the different platforms, your mobile device and your tablets as well. So
as Todd mentioned, oops. Yep.
Nope,
so as Todd mentioned, we have a number of pieces where the member experience for our members, our third-party vendors provide features and functions, but a lot of times they say, hey, give us a logo and a font color and we'll go change things for you. But what you find is those experiences, while those vendors are making their best efforts, they do not fit well within your website, and they do not fit well within your online banking platform. And so they end up getting what we call the Frankenstein Effect, and what we like to call showing the bolts. And what TopLayer really does for us is it allows us to take advantage of lots of third-party tools and not show the bolts. And so what Todd's going to help me out with here is clicking through our chat solution that we just launched with, and it's before scenario. So Todd, if you can go ahead and click, what we start with is our very first piece is to try and find chat on our existing vendor's website. You actually get to the home screen and you don't see chat anywhere. The only way you're going to find chat is you know how to get there. And so it's actually buried up under support in the top right-hand corner. And once you click support, you don't even actually have the word chat yet. It actually still says secure support. And once you click secure support, you're almost there. You at least finally got to a screen that shows the word chat, but if you now see, you have really deviated from a look and feel. You're fully into a third-party vendor, and this application was built for something else, but it just now looks like we're really struggling to do a good experience. And once you click that chat, you're still not there. You're almost there, but we're now to the point where it wants you to pop in your name and then click chat. And once you click that chat, you finally are to a chat screen. But guess what? If you look up in the upper left-hand corner, that chat screen doesn't look anything else like the rest of your app. So again, engaging WEtap and FTSI, we went ahead and FTSI took the TopLayer product and started TopLayering our chat application for us. And so with that, Once you now land on our home screen, we actually have an option to top layer our home banking application and put live chat right in line with the rest of our application. And if you click on that live chat button, you then get a second screen. And let's be careful here. We chose to do this second screen only because we wanted consistency between our home banking and our www website. If we had chose to, we actually could have skipped this step and gone straight to the next step, which is getting you straight into chat. So again, you could go straight to the screen. We just chose to put the interim screen in between because when you come in from our www website, we don't know who you are, and we do ask you to put in your name, and our agents then get that this was a user enter field, whereas from home banking, what FTSI and WEtap were able to do was make it to where we don't ask you your name, you go straight in, and on the back end, our call center reps actually find out that this was not entered by the user, it was entered by the system, and we can actually skip asking you all the identifying questions. We just treat you as the authenticated user you log into online banking with. So again, this was not something that was available to us before. It makes it clean, it makes it consistent with our interface. And Todd, if you can click on to the next screen. The other thing that it did was this offering by the third-party vendor was not available on mobile. By using TopLayer, we actually rendered it with responsive design, and we now also offer it on mobile. So again, these are our exact same app using TopLayer, and it's now offered in mobile where it wasn't offered in mobile before. And so again, this was huge for us because our members actually use this to chat with us when they're overseas. We find a lot of folks actually bring up the chat option rather than try to contact us some other way. Todd?
Yes, and then we did the same. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I apologize. I forgot this slide was in here, but the other thing that did come along for the ride is we did this with FTSI and WEtap. The third-party vendor also had secure email. And again, the reason we're showing this screen is we did the same activity for secure emails we did with chat. And again, that secure email was not available on mobile, but because of the responsive design, again, you can see on the screen here, it is now available on mobile as well.
So there's another great example that almost everybody, not everybody, but just about everybody has felt this pain before. Here's the new Rivermark website. I think this is a 2.0 version of the responsive website for them. And this was the first project we did with Rivermark for making and improving look and feel. This used to be their consumer lending site. And you may or may not be familiar with the look and feel of this somewhat well-used, and this vendor is somewhat popular. But this was their look and feel. And as you can tell, it doesn't look a lot like their website. You know, when they bought the product, they were told, oh yes, you can customize the website, make it look like yours. And people are probably familiar with what that actually meant, which was, well, you get to put your banner across the top. And Rob likes to comment that you know, if he was teaching a HTML and CSS 101 class, that he would have failed the developers with looking at the results of what they did. So we took the TopLayer product, and without basically the way that TopLayer works is it says, okay, you have an existing application and you've got somebody that wants to use it. And TopLayer sits between the existing application and takes all those fields that are in there real time, strips those fields out and the important information out, and then takes and puts a new look and feel on top of it. And this is what we ended up with for after TopLayer. You'll notice that this is a you know, the styles match, the green buttons, the fonts. It's actually within their website. You've got all the same navigation. It's all there for TopLayer. Now, their original product was mobile accessible, but it wasn't mobile friendly, meaning that if you went to one of these screens on your tablet or your iPhone, you would do the pinch and zoom, right? You'd zoom into one of these fields and then you'd try and type it, and you do the same thing with the tablet. So people were actually filling this application in, believe it or not, mobilely before this was done.
Todd, just interrupt real quick. Yeah, I mean, again, you nailed it. Calling it mobile accessible, though, might be a real stretch. But we did find that 10% of our loan apps that were coming through this very difficult and painful user experience were coming from iPhones. So folks were telling us that our members would not submit a loan app online on a mobile device, and we had evidence that that was not true. We had 10% of our loan apps that were coming through this application were coming from iPhones, and the only way they could have been doing that is the very painful pinch and zoom experience.
So when we top layered this application, Rivermark asked us to just top layer it for desktop. And we went through, and this was our first top layering activity that we did. But what we ended up doing is we ended up developing making this top layered consumer lending application responsive. So not only did Rivermark get it as a desktop application, but when they went to their tablet or phone, it was also responsive, and that was a big win for them. They didn't know that we were going to do that. We surprised them with it. Needless to say, they were happy, and I believe the volume of loans that were submitted online increased quite a bit for mobile users as well. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but it was a significant increase. So that's TopLayer. Jen, did you want us to open this up for some questions, or did you also want us to talk about follow-through?
If there's anyone out there, everyone's on mute right now, but if you have a question, if you want to raise your hand or type it in the chat box. But I think going over follow-through would be great.
All right. So let's see, talking about follow-through. So after this project with Rivermark where we did the consumer lending, we went to the next logical step, which was, okay, great, somebody goes through this application, and this application is, I think it's 7 or 10 steps long. I forget how many steps it is. Somebody gets to the end of the application, they say, yes, great, I want to submit it. They submit it off, and all the information is transferred into their Rivermark's lending application. Velocity, I think, is the name of the program that they use.
Yeah, and Todd, real quick, can I interrupt? Just real fast, before TopLayer and follow-through, what we were having was the only thing that we could see in the application was some basic IIS logs. So what I want to get to here real fast is marketing would put a lot of time and effort into pay-per-click advertising out on the internet. They would have that advertising become fairly effective, drive members or potential members to that application that I was, again, fairly embarrassed by. And as members or potential members hit that application, when they started filling it out, we had no idea what happened. The only metrics and the only reporting we could see at all was when they clicked the final submit on the other side of the application. So as folks were dropping into that application and dropping out of that application, we had no idea what was going on prior to TopLayer and follow-through. It was we referred to it as the black hole.
So yeah, it makes it so along with the challenge of what I was describing is, you go through 10 steps and you submit at the end and it goes into your application. That would also be the only time marketing would know that their dollars were well spent, because they could see, the only thing they could see is, I spent some money here and these are the number of loans that were actually filled out and submitted. And so it was a loose correlation between, okay, I spent these marketing dollars and I got more loans. It wasn't a direct correlation. So what we talked about doing was, well, what happens if somebody goes through 3 or 4 pages or gets to the second to last page and quits and leaves the application, all that information is gone. Everything that they've entered in isn't captured or stored until they get to the last step and say submit. Some of the newer lending applications actually will capture, I think there's one I've heard about, will actually capture information if you go to the next page. But that is, right now, that's the exception to the rule that's in the industry. So what we said was, okay, what could we do to fix this? Well, we said, why don't we create an application, and we called it Follow Through, that would help credit unions compete for these, the direct lending, and help them face this challenge of both the information disappearing as well as the information that marketing wanted, which was, hey, where did my leads come from and where did they drop off in the lending process? So this is, I think, the third step in the lending application, the consumer lending application at Rivermark right now. If you go in and you fill this information in and you left at this point, all this information would have disappeared in the past. But with follow through, we actually capture information when they go field by field. So if you go in the previous one and you start typing stuff in and you go from the home phone number to the cellular home phone number, from the home phone number to cellular phone number, this actually captures that information and fills it in. And the other thing that this does is it also gives marketing the ability to track the number of applications that are coming into the consumer lending website, as well as they have some tagging that they can do so they can tell which of that marketing effort, which ones of those channels are doing well. So they can, if you're spending $300, across on each channel across 3 different channels, and you see that one channel is performing really well, you can nix the 2 channels and spend, $900 on that channel and really get a good return on your investment for the marketing side. So the other thing that happens with this is we said, okay, great, now that we've collected this information, we should probably do something about this. And I liken this to, I'm sure here everybody has probably shopped online at Amazon at one point. And I bet you most people here have shopped on Amazon and left something in your shopping cart. And that causes some processes to kick off at Amazon. You get a follow-up email. It says, hey, you left something in your shopping cart. Do you want to purchase this? And I have yet to run across somebody that hasn't been like, oh, that's right, I was in the middle of getting that, and okay, let me finish that transaction. Well, we consider everything that Rivermark is doing online for their members e-commerce. You're selling services, you're providing value, you're doing these things for your members. And just like e-commerce, following up and having something happen when a shopping cart is abandoned, and this is what I would consider a shopping cart, somebody going through and looking and shopping for a consumer lending loan. Hey, they've left, it's been 20 minutes, let's kick off an action and let's reach out to that person and talk to them about, hey, can we help you finish this transaction? Did you forget about this transaction? And let's continue this. So Rivermark has this set right now at, if that person goes in and is filling in a form and leaves that form for 20 minutes, there is an activity that's kicked off that reaches out to that person and works with them to continue and finish that transaction. Right now there's an email sent off to Rivermark's sales department, lending department, and they follow up with that person and say, hey, do you need some help finishing it? Did you have some questions? And they're finding that when we first did this, we saw a really good bump. We saw about a 7 to 12% bump of submitted applications by just following up with the people that dropped off. There's been a craziness that most people have experienced that has happened with consumer lending right now, and it's obviously just been crazy over the last couple of years. So the amount of follow-up opportunities or follow-through opportunities that are there have increased exponentially since the original kickoff of this application. And that's the way that follow-through works. And if there's any questions, go ahead and type them in, and we'll either address them here or address them with a follow-up email if there's any other questions.